Welcome to Pixels to Polygons, the 40-bit adventure. I'm your boy Yank. Today, I'm talking about a game that I didn't even know existed until last week. I picked this game up on a whim based on the recommendation from a vendor at the Southeast Game Exchange. And if you haven't checked out the video on my adventures at the convention, I suggest you definitely go and check it out after you get done watching this one. But in the video, I talk about I'm going through a stack of Switch games at this one booth. And I saw that the spine of this game was in Japanese, so I picked it up, flipped it around just to see what the cover was. And when I did that, the vendor asked me if I knew anything about the game, and he explained that this game never got a North American physical release, that it was only released in Asian territories physically, and it was a very niche title. He sold me on it, and I decided to take a gamble, and I picked it up. That game is Serial Cleaners. Now, before I ripped the seal off of this physical copy I bought at the convention, I decided to go on my Xbox and check out the store to see if it was maybe on sale or something. And must have been my lucky day, because it was part of the summer sale Xbox is running for $7.50. So I clicked download and put the physical sealed copy that I bought back on the shelf to collect dust. Isn't that what game collecting's all about? Now, Serial Cleaners is actually a sequel. The original game is called Serial Cleaner. And if there were any references to the original game in this one, I was completely oblivious to it because I never played the original. Now, Serial Cleaners is a top-down stealth game. Well, not top-down. It's that at an angle. What's it called? Isometric. It's an isometric stealth game. You play as one of 4 characters who has to clean up crime scenes for the mob, removing evidence, vacuuming up blood, and disposing of bodies without getting caught by the police, or being seen by civilians in some cases, because they'll run and go get the police. I guess no one ever told them. Snitches get stitches, homie. This game takes place during the 90s, and that explains why the graphics are a loud, colorful, rough, comic book inspired art style. It's just totally drenched in 90s nostalgia. Heck, the loading icon in the bottom right corner of the screen is even a spinning disc like we used to have back on the PS1. And let's not forget to mention all the 90s pop culture references they make throughout the game, including things like Die Hard and the Spice Girls. Each character has special abilities that you can use to help clean up the scene without being detected. First up is Bob. He is the protagonist from the first game. They don't come out and say it, but I'm pretty sure Bob is the oldest of the group. He is the vet cleaner, I guess you could say. Bob can bag bodies so they can be carried in public without arousing suspicion, and drag the body without leaving a blood trail. And he also has the blood sliding ability, where Bob can build up momentum by sliding on blood trails left by dragging bodies to move around the level faster. I never really used this mechanic except to get the achievement attached to it. Next, we have Psycho, also known as Hal. Hal is socially awkward, suffers from anger issues, and he can rely more on a direct approach with his brute strength than his abilities. Psycho has the chainsaw. This is where he can cut up bodies to dispose of them, which will leave behind limbs that you can use to knock out police, and then proceed to store their unconscious bodies in dumpsters or lockers and things like that. You can only put one body in a spot though, which means you can't knock out every cop and get rid of them on the level. It forces you to be strategic on which ones to incapacitate. I really like this mechanic because it adds another layer of puzzle solving to Psycho's levels. Moving on to the ladies. Next we have Laddie, also known as Letitia. She's an aspiring artist and passionate music lover tied into the 90s vibe. Her abilities are graffiti art. She can tag the ground with art that will distract police off of their patrol route. She has 3 cans of spray paint per level, so it is a limited ability. And she also has parkour. Laddie is more about evasion than hiding like the rest of the cleaners. Her agility allows her to move certain objects to block paths when being pursued, and she'll jump and climb over fences and barricades, making her approach to cleaning more about speed and finesse. Last but not least, we have Viper. Viper is the fast-talking, tech-savvy young buck of the group. The 90s pop culture references she makes always put a smile on my face. She's probably my favorite character of the group. I feel like her design was plucked straight from the cult classic Hackers with Matthew Lillard and Angelina Jolie, which is a great film if you haven't seen it. Now, her abilities include hacking terminals, where Viper can hack into computer terminals to control electronic devices such as turning surveillance cameras off and on, or creating a noise by making certain electronics go off to distract the cops off their patrol route. She also has the ability to crawl through vents. Viper is able to crawl around in vents John McClane style, which she actually makes a reference to, and is aware of how ridiculously huge these vents are. I got a good laugh out of that. Viper is a stay out of sight cleaner. She has the ability to hide under tables in various hiding spots. Her and Bob are the only ones that utilize this hiding mechanic, which makes sense considering they don't have the brute strength or agility to escape easily.
Ugh. Why does this precinct even allow these air ducts to be so big? Absolutely crazy. Maybe they fantasized about using the McClane style one day during a Soviet invasion or something. Whatever, I have a job to do. So, without further ado, General Bob, I have managed to infiltrate the enemy area. Commencing mission.
And here's a couple tips for all the cleaners. If you're able to wrap up a body, do so. That way you're not making more of a mess with the blood and having to clean it up, especially if you're going for the 100% clean on every level. Like I said before, I didn't really use Bob's blood slide too much, so I wasn't intentionally trying to make more paths of it. And also, be conscious of when you pick up keys that once you unlock a door with that key, you can lock it back as well. Meaning, if you can find a way to lure one of the officers into the room off of their patrol, you can get back on the other side. You can actually lock them in these rooms, which is very helpful because then you technically just take them out of your path and get them out of the way for the rest of the level. Serial Cleaners takes place in New York City on New Year's Eve in 1999. This team of 4 very different cleaners decide to ring in the new year together, reminiscing about the first time they all met in their last decade of cleaning and working together. As the booze starts to flow and the stories start coming out, details start becoming inaccurate and everyone starts saying, "That's not exactly how I remember it." This friendly colleague get-together turns into a tense and very dangerous situation very fast. The way the story is told in the past tense format, but not exactly in order with everyone in the present, I feel like it is heavily inspired by Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. Very 90s crime cinema. Now, in the beginning of each chapter, you normally play as Bob first, but then you have your choice between Psycho, Laddie, or Viper. I really like how they let you choose which cleaner you want to play as next, so you actually get the choice of which part of the narrative you get to hear. I guess it kind of just adds that sense of control to the player. I think it's a really nice touch in my opinion.
All right, well, it's time to pay your bills, girl. Hangman's gang did this. Looks like they're aggressively expanding their territory.
I really enjoyed the level designs because they showcase the ability for each of the cleaners. The levels are clearly inspired by 90s movies, some of which are Clerks, Juice, and Fargo. Each level isn't a straightforward puzzle, as in there's only one way to solve it. Every level can be approached in multiple ways to achieve the same goal. I'm sure there were things I could have done to make my playthrough a little easier, but I'm also sure I made some choices that made it so I didn't have to restart a level either. They were challenging, but also mostly forgiving. I felt it was a good balance to keep the player engaged and not rage quit. I aimed for 100% completion on each level, so there were a few times I got a little stumped trying to get that last blood trail vacuumed up or something like that. but nothing a little trial and error didn't figure out. Although towards the end of the game, there was one level with Viper where I did get really stuck. I kind of accidentally painted myself in a corner with a weird save that I made, and I couldn't escape. I really thought for a minute there I might have to restart the level, but luckily I dug deep, found the patience, and I was able to prevail. That was the toughest spot that I got put in through this entire playthrough. Players looking for fast-paced action are going to find the deliberate, methodical gameplay a bit too slow for their appetite. But if you enjoy stealth games that reward patience, planning, and experimentation, there's a lot to love here. As you play, there are different outfits you can unlock for each character that are based on 90s pop culture. Just a couple of them are, like Laddie has the yellow jumpsuit like April O'Neil from the Ninja Turtles, and Psycho has the Ace Ventura pet detective outfit when he gets into the psych ward. And that explains my shirt. Now, I did see that they had DLC for this game, and if I'd have had more time, I probably would have jumped headfirst into it. But I can easily see myself coming back to this title at some point, so I'm pretty sure when I do, I'll have something new to play, so that's probably when I'll jump into the DLC part of it. It also bothers me a little bit because I completed this game. I actually got 1,000 gamer score out of it on my Xbox, but of course it will not go into my completed games list, because even if you have a game completed, the DLC or anything that's added afterwards or whatever, it will pull it off because now you're still not back showing 100%. I wish Xbox would figure out a way to distinguish that, but that's not here nor there.
Yeah, piss off. What now? The Chinese, they believe anything can be kung fu. Poetry, carpentry, running, as long as it's a craft. Crime scene cleaning, that's your craft. And what a beautiful kung fu it is.
So in conclusion, Serial Cleaners works because it fully commits to its unconventional premise. It delivers a totally fresh take on stealth games with its creative levels, memorable visuals, and enough gameplay variety to keep you hooked from start to finish. Serial Cleaners isn't just another stealth game. It turns what I imagine would be a very dark, gross, and traumatizing task like cleaning up crime scenes into a vibrant, engaging puzzle. Now, this game's not gonna appeal to everyone, and that's okay. Especially if you're more into the action-heavy, fast-paced gameplay, it's definitely not for you. But Serial Cleaners goes to show that if you take a gameplay idea and execute it well, that's all you need. It doesn't have to be flashy with all the bells and whistles, and it doesn't have to be executed perfectly. It just has to be done well. If you're looking for a unique stealth game with style and more personality than James McAvoy from the movie Split, this is one cleanup job I highly recommend you take. I'm gonna give Serial Cleaners an 8 out of 10. Of course, I say play this game anytime you feel like giving it a shot, but I think it works well as a palate cleanser for when you've just finished a huge RPG or sprawling open world adventure, or you're just kind of in between titles at the moment and you need something to just, smaller to play. Have you played Serial Cleaners? If so, what'd you think? Or what's your favorite stealth game? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. This genre is not exactly in my wheelhouse, but I'd love to take a deeper dive into it, so I definitely would like to hear you guys' suggestions. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend, hit that like button, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Well, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching Pixels to Polygons, the 40-bit adventure. I'll see you next time.
Gotta clean up this mess somehow. Gotta get rid of the bodies. Wait. Yes! Gotta get the chainsaw. Yes!
Gotta get the good old trusty chainsaw. Yes!